The year was 2145, and humanity had crossed the final threshold of the unknown. Eloria, a planet steeped in a vibrant tapestry of colors and alien life, was home to the Galactic Federation, the only established alliance of intelligent species in the galaxy. A grassy expanse surrounded a majestic council chamber adorned with bioluminescent flora. This was where diplomacy hung in the air like the ever-present hum of the alien wildlife. Ethan Hart stood at the entrance, adjusting his tie. "Are you ready for this, Ethan?" he murmured to himself, taking a deep breath. He had trained for years to prepare for this moment, but nothing could fully duplicate the rush of having his first face-to-face interaction with an alien. "Hey, don't overthink it," chimed in his colleague Maya, waving her hand in dismissal. "Just be yourself. These are the Xylars. They might be different, but they're just as curious about us as we are about them." A hint of excitement overtook his initial nerves. Right? Just be myself. Yet, inside, he felt the weight of expectations. Would the Xylars even find him relatable? As the massive doors opened, Ethan stepped inside. A soft glow enveloped the chamber, and he squinted, adjusting to the light. The Xylar representatives were seated neatly in an arc, each one exuding an ethereal beauty that made it hard to focus. "Welcome, human envoy," spoke Aelith, the council leader. His voice was both melodic and deep, resonating through the chamber. "We have awaited your arrival." "Thank you, Aelith," Ethan replied, stepping forward with a confident grin. "I'm honored to be here and to discuss our future together." Ethan's gaze drifted across the council members until it landed on Lyra. She was unlike anyone he'd ever seen. Her shimmering skin seemed to shift colors with every movement, and her large, intelligent eyes sparkled like stars. He felt a pull, as if she were a gravity well drawing him in. "Wow," Maya whispered beside him, reading his thoughts. "She's stunning." "She really is," Ethan whispered back as they approached the raised dais. Lyra leaned forward slightly, her eyes narrowing as she studied Ethan. "Your kind is intriguing, Ethan Hart. We have heard much but know little. What makes you human?" "Curiosity, mostly," Ethan said, unable to tear his eyes away from her. "We ask questions and seek answers, even in the face of uncertainty." "You know of our caution with your kind?" Another council member, Brix, interjected. "Many have warned us about the potential consequences of intermingling with humans." Ethan felt his confidence waver but pressed on. "I understand that. Your culture is different, but perhaps—" He hesitated. "Perhaps there's more we can learn from each other." "Perhaps," Brix scoffed. "We have strict guidelines regarding emotional connections across species. Your touch can affect our emotions, yes?" Lyra finished, her voice calm yet firm. She then turned her gaze to Ethan, softening her demeanor. "But isn't that the essence of being alive? To feel?" Ethan nodded slowly, captivated. "Exactly. Emotions are what bind us together, aren't they? We can't hide behind walls forever." "There's wisdom in your words," Lyra said, surprising the council. "Maybe we should explore this further." Maya leaned closer to Ethan and whispered, "Nice save. But be careful. They might take this the wrong way." The discussion progressed, bouncing between ideas, cultures, and shared histories. Amid the conversation, Ethan caught glimpses of Lyra's character. Her passionate nature and inquisitive mind made him yearn to know more. As the meeting concluded, Ethan stepped away with Maya. "Not bad for a first day, huh?" she said with a grin. "You think so?" Ethan replied, still summarizing the interactions in his mind. "I felt like I could have conveyed more." "Maybe," Maya replied, but that touch of sincerity was golden. "The Xylars need that." Just then, Lyra approached Ethan as he stepped into the hall, her expressive eyes alive with eagerness. "Ethan, might I have a moment? I wish to ask you something." "Of course," he replied, his heart racing. "What's on your mind?" "Your view of emotions," she began, tilting her head slightly as if trying to absorb every facet of his expression. "You said they bind people together. But how can one touch create such bridges?" She drew closer, and the air seemed to shimmer between them. "It's about connection," Ethan said, feeling the tension of the moment. "When you touch someone, you can share feelings, experiences, it becomes a sense of understanding. It's how we learn." She considered his words, her expression thoughtful. I have heard warnings about the human touch, yet I'm drawn to the concept. She hesitated before daring to ask, what is it like? He could scarcely believe the candidness of her question. The memory of the council's cautions flashed in his mind, but the curiosity in her gaze transcended any teachings. It's intense, he said, but beautiful too. It's that spark that makes you feel alive. Lyra took a brief step closer, her shimmering skin reflecting the ambient light. I wish to experience this spark. Spark, he echoed, caught off guard by her directness. You mean, you want to? Will you show me? The air was thick with unspoken possibilities. Yes, he stammered, feeling a mixture of excitement and trepidation. But we have to be careful. It's more profound than touch, it carries emotions. Then let us be cautious, she insisted softly, reaching her hand toward him, her fingertips just brushing against the back of his hand. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. A shiver of warmth spread from the point of contact, engulfing them both. He concentrated, taking in her delicate features, the vulnerability reflected in her eyes. In that fleeting moment, Ethan understood this could change everything. Before he could respond, Aelitha's voice broke through the moment. Lyra, it is time for you to rejoin the council. Ethan withdrew his hand quickly, his heart racing. We'll continue this discussion later, he asked, desperate for closure, for a way to explore what lay between them. Absolutely, Lyra replied, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. She glanced back toward the council room, then turned to Ethan, her expression resolute. Thank you for opening your heart, even if just a little. As she walked away, Ethan felt a rush of exhilaration and fear. This was no ordinary encounter. Their worlds had begun to intertwine, filled with possibilities that could lead to something extraordinary or threaten everything he had ever known. He couldn't wait to see where this path would take them. Chapter 2: Crossing Boundaries. Ethan woke up to the soft hum of the ship's engines vibrating throughout his quarters. The memory of Lyra's touch lingered in his mind, a mixture of awe and apprehension making his heart race. Today, he would be meeting her again as part of the second round of discussions related to the council's decisions. As he dressed, his thoughts swirled. What would he say? How could he articulate the feelings that this alien being stirred within him? Would she still be interested? Just then, there was a knock on his door. It was Maya, her face lit with enthusiasm. Are you ready? You're going to knock their socks off today. Especially Lyra. I hope so, he said with a half-hearted smile. What if I trip over my words? What if I can't explain how I feel? Maya rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. Stop it. Just be you. No one can do that better than Ethan Hart. Besides, you already have a rapport with Lyra, which is half the battle. Just keep it conversational. Conversational, right? He nodded, gathering courage. As they approached the council chamber, Lyra emerged, surrounded by a small group of Xyloraids. Her eyes locked onto Ethan's, a spark igniting in her gaze. She excused herself from the group and made her way toward him. Ethan, she greeted, her voice a melodic tune amidst the bustling energy of the chamber. Lyra, he replied, his smile growing wider. I've been looking forward to seeing you. Likewise, she said, a hint of excitement flushing her cheeks. Today is crucial. Aelith wished to focus on the cultural guides. Yes, and it's important. I want to make sure our perspectives are conveyed clearly, Ethan said. Then let's show them the best of our worlds. Lyra gestured towards a cluster of holographic displays that showcased images of human culture, art, music, and landmarks that displayed Earth's diverse beauty. What do you want to start with? Let's talk about music first. It's a universal language, Ethan suggested, energized by her enthusiasm. As they stepped up to the hologram interface, Ethan's heart raced at the idea of sharing human music. He selected a piece, a beautiful symphony full of emotion. The notes danced in the air, and Ethan watched as Lyra's features shifted, mirroring the crescendo of the sounds. You have such depth in your music, she remarked, turning to him. It evokes something deep inside. It connects with what it means to be human, Ethan replied. Joy, sorrow, love, it's all captured in the notes. I want to feel that connection. Lyra stepped closer, her presence infectious. Do you ever dance to it? Dance? Ethan chuckled, scratching the back of his head. Not unless I'm forced to at a wedding. But I'd be willing to learn. She tilted her head, intrigued. Teach me. I want to learn how to experience your music fully. All right, but you have to promise to let me guide you, he said, grinning. The council watched with mixed expressions, some intrigued, some skeptical. Aelith raised an eyebrow, observing the growing connection. Shall we make this a part of our sessions? Music can indeed unite us. Ethan nodded, excitement bubbling within him. Definitely. But how about we add our own dance styles? That way it becomes a cultural exchange. We can show you our movements and you can show us yours. Lyra's eyes sparkled. I know some traditional Xyler dances. They're full of grace and rhythm. Perfect. Let's do it. Ethan felt a rush of adrenaline. He took a step back, imagining how the session would evolve. What's the best way to start? Lyra stepped closer, positioning her hands as if to demonstrate. All right, follow my lead. Start with a gentle sway. Ethan mimicked her movements, his body a little stiffer than he intended. Like this. You're too rigid. Loosen up. Lyra laughed, breaking the ice. Feel the music. Let it move you. I'm trying, he replied, unable to suppress a grin. Here, like this, she said, moving effortlessly. The waves of her graceful motions drew him in, and he felt a surge of warmth. Now, your turn. As they danced in a playful back and forth, the energy in the chamber shifted. Council members began to smile, some exchanging amused glances. Maya clapped lightly, encouraging Ethan. More fluid. Lyra called, her laughter contagious. Ethan couldn't help but laugh as he tried to keep up. All right. I'm loosening up. Good. Now add some flair. You can even add your own style to it. How he grinned, taking a chance. With a sudden burst of confidence, he twirled and attempted a jump, though it ended in a laugh as he stumbled. Lyra burst into a fit of laughter, eyes sparkling. See? You have style. Just make it a little smoother. The room filled with laughter as they encouraged each other, wrapped up in their playful dance. Even Bricks, who had been skeptical, allowed a small smile to break through his serious demeanor. As they concluded the impromptu session, panting yet energized, Lyra glanced at Ethan with a sense of wonder. You made that so much fun. I never thought of dance as a way to express emotions. It's beautiful. Ethan wiped his brow, breathless but grinning. I didn't know it could feel like that either. You really pulled me into it. Aelith approached, nodding thoughtfully. Perhaps there are merits to this relationship beyond initial concerns. Can our worlds become intertwined this way? Absolutely, Ethan replied, unable to contain his enthusiasm. If we can connect through music and dance, who knows what else we could explore? Lyra's eyes shone like shimmering stars. Art, stories, maybe even our traditions. So much is waiting to be discovered. Maya jumped in. And let's not forget food. When are we trying each other's cuisines? Lyra's expression shifted to one of curiosity. Food? What is that? Only the most delightful experience. Maya replied animatedly. It's another way cultures express themselves, flavors, textures, and communal meals. It's essential. Then we must explore this, Lyra said, exchanging a determined glance with Ethan. Show us how food embodies your humanity. As the session came to a close, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling of excitement they had ignited together. I look forward to more exchanges like this, Lyra. It feels like we're just scratching the surface. Together we can dig deeper, she replied, their eyes locking once more. The electric energy persisted between them, sparking a deeper connection than mere dialogue. Then let's plan our next meeting for tomorrow? Ethan suggested. I'll be ready, Lyra promised, her eyes glistening. And this time I'll teach you my dance. I can't wait, he said, heart racing at the thought. As they walked out of the chamber together, Ethan felt lighter, a sense of anticipation thrumming through him. Aliens and humans, once seen as separate, were beginning to meld into something more meaningful, something neither had imagined before. Knowing that these adventures were only just beginning filled him with both hope and determination. Together, they would explore their worlds, one step at a time. Chapter 3, Forbidden Feelings. Ethan awoke with a rush of anticipation tinged with anxiety. Today was the day he and Lyra would share a meal, a culinary exchange steeped in mutual curiosity. He spent the morning gathering ingredients from the supply room, wondering if Earth food would please her. The thought of her trying his favorite dish sent fluttering nerves through him. Hey, chef! Maya called out, poking her head into his quarters. What are you cooking up this time? Just some pasta and marinara. Hopefully it'll impress Lyra, Ethan said, trying to sound casual. Maya raised an eyebrow. Just pasta? Go big or go home. What about spices? You need to show her how complex Earth food can be. Ethan shrugged, setting down the supplies. I tried to keep it simple. I figured it's familiar. Familiar? You want her to experience new flavors. Maya exclaimed. Here, let me help. I've got a few spice techniques that'll elevate your dish. All right, I'm all ears, he replied, grateful for her enthusiasm. Together, they rummaged through the leftover supplies, Maya pulling out a variety of spices. Start with garlic and olive oil, Maya instructed, her hands gesturing to the ingredients. Infuse the flavors before adding in your tomatoes. It's all about building layers. Ethan followed her guidance, cutting garlic and starting the oil in a small pot. The smell filled the air, and he smiled. Cooked seamlessly, right? Exactly. Cooking is an art. You're learning, she said, eyes bright with encouragement. Just then, a communication ping echoed through the room. Ethan glanced at the screen, displaying a message from Lyra. I'm on my way. Can't wait to experience Earth cuisine. Is she almost here? Maya whispered, excitement evident on her face. Looks like it, Ethan replied, heart racing. What if she doesn't like it? Then you'll make something else next time. Now finish up and impress her. Maya nudged him before hurrying out. Ethan worked frantically, stirring and adding ingredients, the smell permeating through the air as the door chimed. Come in, he called, turning towards the entrance. Lyra stepped inside, her eyes wide with curiosity. What is that delightful smell? Just a little earth dish I'm whipping up. I hope you're hungry. Ethan beamed, feeling the warmth of her presence. It smells incredible. What are you making? Lyra stepped further in, her gaze flitting around the small kitchen area. Pasta with marinara sauce, he said, trying to sound confident. It's a kind of noodle dish. Noodles? She echoed, fascinated. I have never encountered anything quite like that before. Here, let me show you. Ethan turned off the stove and brought her to the pot, carefully ladling some sauce onto a plate. You can see how it flows, right? Lyra leaned in, her eyes sparkling with intrigue. It looks beautiful. And the colors are vibrant. May I? Of course, try it. He handed her the plate and she delicately lifted a forkful to her lips, her expression a mix of concentration and excitement. Ethan watched, heart pounding with anticipation. She took her first bite, chewing slowly while her eyes widened in surprise. Wow, this is delicious, she exclaimed, her voice tinged with thrill. The flavors explode. Really? You like it? He asked, disbelief painting his features. Like it? I love it. This is unlike anything we have on Xylar, she said, letting out a delighted laugh. She picked up another forkful, savoring it. You have to show me how to make this. I can do that. Cooking's a group effort after all, he said with a grin. What other Earth foods are there? She asked, her curiosity piqued. Well, there's pizza, sushi, and Pizza? Is that another type of a food? She interrupted, eyes alight. Exactly. It's like a flatbread with toppings. I could make it for you next time. Do you have such toppings? Lyra's interest was palpable. Yeah. You can customize it however you like, just like what we did with pasta. A customizable food? She laughed again, the sound warm and infectious. That is fantastic. We should start experimenting. What about our traditional Xylar dishes? Maybe we could blend them. I'd love that. Show me what you make and I'll bring my own flair, Ethan replied, excitement bubbling within him. After they finished the meal, Ethan began cleaning the area. Did you enjoy the meal? I did. Your cooking is incredible, Lyra remarked, her expression sincere. But it's about more than the food, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose, he said, drying a bowl. It's also about sharing experiences, right? Exactly. Lyra's gaze softened as she leaned against the counter. And it feels closer to my heart. Ethan looked up, locking eyes with her. Closer? What do you mean? This connection we've built, she replied, stepping a fraction closer, a hint of vulnerability in her eyes. Sharing this meal, the dance, our cultures. It's been opening. Ethan felt a rush of emotion, words on the tip of his tongue but caught in the moment. I feel that too, Lyra. It's refreshing to connect beyond duty and protocol. Can we continue to explore this? Lyra asked, her voice low and earnest. I don't want our exchanges to be limited to debates and formalities. I want to know you. Ethan stepped closer, feeling an undeniable pull. I want that too, more than I should maybe. Why should you want it less? Lyra asked, a hint of a smile gracing her lips. Because it's complicated, he began, taking a breath. Humanity has struggles, complexities that come with emotions. But I believe in what we're forming. Complications can be navigated, she replied, her gaze steady. Isn't that part of being Ali? Perceive each other. To explore our differences together. I want that, he asserted, thrusting his hands into his pockets. But we have to proceed carefully. Aelith won't approve, and there are cultural implications. Lyra let out a gentle laugh that melted the tension in the air. So we forge our path, Ethan. Together. What if the council doesn't approve? He asked, struggling with the weight of their situation. Then we challenge them. Together, she said, her energy shifting to determination. Our bond can pave a way for understanding. Why should we hide how we truly feel? He took a moment to process her words. You make it sound so simple. Life is simpler than we often realize, she insisted, stepping closer yet again, her presence electrifying. We just need to be brave enough to embrace it. Ethan felt a rush within him. You're right. I'm afraid of not being enough for you. Don't be afraid, Lyra whispered, leaning in, their faces mere inches apart. We are enough for each other, even if we are different. The tension hung between them, electric and tangible. Ethan felt vulnerable, and simultaneously, he felt a surge of courage igniting within him. Then let's explore this, he said softly. Together. Lyra's smile grew radiant, filling the space with warmth. Together, she echoed. And with that, they stepped into the dawn of something profound, vowing to navigate the complexity ahead hand in hand. Chapter 4, Bound Together. Ethan paced in his quarters, the anticipation for his next meeting with Lyra buzzing through him. They had pushed the boundaries of their understanding, and now they would explore deeper, both their cultures and their growing connection. Today, they'd be engaging in a traditional Xylar activity, storytelling. As he adjusted his clothes, his mind wandered. What stories would she share? Would they reveal something more about her world, and maybe her heart? The thought filled him with excitement. A soft knuckle rap caught his attention. It was Maya. You look like you're about to explode. What's happening in there? Just thinking about Lyra. We're storytelling today, he replied, trying to mask his nervousness. Storytelling. Awesome. What do you plan to share? Maya asked, leaning against the doorframe. Not sure yet. I want it to resonate with her culture. Something meaningful, he said, scratching his head. Just tell her a genuine story. Something personal, she suggested. You can connect through your experiences. Good point. Maybe I can share a childhood memory. Exactly. Just keep it authentic, she encouraged, her smile infectious. You got this. Thanks, Maya. Ethan felt bolstered by her support. Shortly after, he received a communication ping. It was Lyra. Meeting in 10? Absolutely. He took a deep breath, feeling a rush of adrenaline. The council chamber felt different this time. It was more intimate, filled with the fragrant incense of Xylar tradition. Lyra stood near the center, her eyes bright and welcoming. Ethan, I can't wait for today's exchange. Me too, Lyra. Are you ready for a whirlwind of stories? He grinned as he approached her. Ready and excited. I believe our cultures hold so many captivating tales. She gestured toward a seating area adorned with glowing stones. Shall we sit? Lead the way, he said, following her. They settled into comfortable positions, the warmth of each other's presence palpable. Shall I go first? Lyra asked, her voice velvety and inviting. Please do. Ethan encouraged, eager to hear her story. Lyra took a moment to gather her thoughts, her eyes drifting to the various ornaments around the chamber. In my youth, we often gathered under the solari trees, the ones that bloom with shimmering light in the night. Each family would share stories about their ancestors, their adventures, and the challenges they faced. One night, my grandmother told the tale of a great healer, one who could mend not only physical wounds but also emotional scars. Ethan leaned in, captivated. What happened next? The healer's village faced a terrible drought and despair hung thick in the air. Rather than succumb to hopelessness, the healer ventured to seek a mystical crystal believed to renew life. Against all odds, she journeyed into the unknown, facing trials that tested her courage and resolve. Along the way, she met others, each with their own struggles. They banded together and found strength in unity. What a powerful message, Ethan said, feeling moved by the story. Your people highlight the importance of community. Yes, we hold that value dearly, Lyra replied, her gaze holding his. Now, what about you? What story do you carry from your past? All right, here goes, Ethan said, gathering his thoughts. When I was a child, I spent summers at my grandparents' home. They had a huge garden and a lake nearby where I'd swim and explore. One summer, I discovered a wounded bird, an injured sparrow. I felt a connection to it. I wanted to help. What did you do? Lyra asked, interest sparkling in her eyes. I brought it home and patched it up with some supplies my grandmother had, he continued, smiling at the memory. I nurtured it back to health. Every day, I'd watch it grow stronger. Eventually, it was able to fly again. That's a wonderful story. It reflects care and compassion, Lyra remarked, her voice warm. You saved a life. Ethan chuckled softly. I guess I was a bit of a budding veterinarian. But what most struck me was watching the bird take off into the sky. It felt like both a victory and a bittersweet goodbye. I understand that feeling, Lyra said, her expression thoughtful. Sometimes letting go is the hardest part. Exactly. Ethan nodded, appreciating the depth of her understanding. Your story about the healer reminded me of my own experiences. Both highlight the importance of helping others. Helping others and letting them go, Lyra mused. Your culture values that too, I see. Ethan shifted in his seat, feeling comfortable with the flow of their conversation. It's about connection, isn't it? How we influence each other's lives in both big and small ways. Indeed. Lyra smiled, her eyes glistening. Should we exchange more stories? Maybe legends of our worlds. I'd love that, he replied enthusiastically. Do you have any legends? Of course. In our folklore, there is a tale of the ethereal guardian, a mystical being believed to protect our realm. It is said that when the stars align, the guardian blesses the moonlight, weaving dreams into the hearts of our people. Wow, that sounds enchanting. Do you believe in the guardian? Ethan asked, intrigued. I do. Lyra replied earnestly. It's a symbol of hope that inspires us to pursue the impossible. Ethan smiled, recognizing the universality of these concepts. On Earth, we have similar legends. In many cultures, there are tales of guardians or protectors, the idea that unseen forces guide and support us. Tell me one of your guardians, Lyra encouraged, leaning closer. Sure. One of my favorites is the story of the phoenix. It represents rebirth and renewal, a bird that bursts into flames and rises from its own ashes. It teaches that even after destruction, there's a chance to rise again. Lyra's eyes sparkled. That's a profound story. Resilience through transformation. Exactly. Ethan agreed, feeling a connection ignite between their narratives. It resonates deeply with concepts of loss and new beginnings. Every story carries weight, doesn't it? Lyra said thoughtfully, a hint of melancholy in her voice. What frightens you the most as you navigate life? Ethan hesitated, contemplating her question. Fear of losing connections. With my family, my friends, and with you. Oh, Ethan, she said, her voice a soft melody. Why fear that loss? Because it's painful, he admitted, vulnerability spilling from him. I want to cherish these moments, yet uncertainty always looms. Lyra reached out, touching his hand gently. We can't control fate, but we can embrace what we have right now. Easy for you to say, he joked, pulling playful tension into the air. You have your mystical guardian. I'm just a regular guy over here. Regular is quite extraordinary, I think, Lyra replied, her voice laced with warmth. It's how we connect with one another that matters. Ethan smiled, his heart swelling at the depth of her words. You know, we should share more about our emotions. They can be messy, but they make us human, or... Xyler. Trust is essential to sharing, Lyra mirrored, squeezing his hand. Let's continue to build that trust. What if we created our own legends together? Ethan suggested, his mind racing. We could weave the stories of both our worlds into something new, something that combines our experiences. I love that idea. A shared legend. Where our stories intertwine. Lyra's eyes lit up with excitement. It would be a cultural bridge. I could write it down and we could illustrate it together. Ethan proposed, his imagination spinning. Our communities could share it. Yes, we could create something lasting, a testament to our collaboration. Lyra said, her smile radiant. As they talked, they could feel the barriers slowly dissolving. What began as separate worlds was becoming a shared path. One where honesty and emotion thrived. Thank you for sharing with me today, Lyra said softly. I found something special in our exchanges. Me too, Lyra, Ethan replied, gazing into her eyes. This isn't just storytelling. It's a part of who we are becoming. Their hands remained entwined, a symbol of their bond. In that moment, they knew they were crafting something beautiful. A shared tapestry of stories, interwoven with connection and understanding. Together, they echoed softly, as the warmth of their growing relationship illuminated the chamber, forging a new legend. One neither could have seen coming, yet both yearned to explore. Chapter 5. A New Horizon. Ethan woke up with the dawn light streaming through his window, excitement bubbling within him. Today was the day they would share their completed story with the council. He recalled the magical night Lyra spent at his quarters, weaving their narratives together to create a story of unity, friendship, and adventure. Ethan rushed through his morning routine, nerves heightening at the thought of presenting their co-create tale. When he entered the common area, Maya was already waiting, sipping her coffee with a knowing smile. You look like you're about to explode. Is it today? She asked, fixing her gaze on him. Yes, it's today, Ethan said, moving toward the coffee machine. Lyra and I finalized our story last night, and I can't help but feel nervous about sharing it. Don't worry, you two have crafted something truly special, Maya assured him. This is a big step. It's not just about telling a story, it's about challenging perceptions. I just hope the council sees it that way, Ethan said, pouring himself a cup. What if they reject it? Then you try again and you keep pushing. The important part is that you both dared to create something together, Maya replied, her eyes sparkling with conviction. Thanks, Maya. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to harness the energy of her encouragement. I really appreciate your support. As they made their way to the council chamber, Ethan's thoughts raced. He wanted the council to understand, not just the story, but the bond Lyra and he had forged, one that transcended their worlds. Arriving at the chamber, Ethan felt a mixture of anticipation and dread. Upon entering, he noticed the council, adorned in colorful traditional garb, exchanging curious glances. We're ready, Aelith announced, his voice commanding yet warm. Please, introduce your story. Ethan glanced at Lyra, who stood beside him with an encouraging smile. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity. He took a deep breath, steadied his voice. Today, we are excited to share a story of how two worlds can come together through understanding, adventure, and friendship. Lyra's presence was comforting as she stepped forward, her ethereal glow captivating the council. We have named our story, The Celestial Bridge. It reflects the journey of a brave healer from my world and an inquisitive explorer from Ethan's. Together, they navigate challenges, learn from one another, and ultimately find strength through collaboration. Ethan continued, throughout their journey, they discover that while their cultures are different, their values, compassion, community, and connection are fundamentally the same. We hope to show how storytelling can transcend boundaries and misunderstandings. The room buzzed with intrigue, the council members exchanging glances. Please share, Aelith encouraged, his interest palpable. Ethan took a deep breath, urging himself to steady his nerves. He glanced at Lyra, who nodded in assurance. Once upon a time, beneath the cosmic tapestry of stars, two beings lived. One a healer named Salien from Xylar, the other a curious explorer named Kaelin from Earth. With Lyra's prompting gaze, Ethan motioned toward the holographic display behind them, revealing charming illustrations they had crafted together during their sessions. Lyra stepped in, her voice smooth as silk. Salien was known for her ability to mend the wounds of her village. Each night, she would share stories beneath the Solari trees, encouraging her people to find strength in unity. Meanwhile, Kaelin voyaged through the stars, longing to understand life beyond his own. One fateful day, their paths intertwined when Salien ventured beyond her village to find healing crystals for her ailing home. Ethan elaborated, his excitement growing. Kaelin encountered Salien, discovering their shared desire to learn from one another. Together, they explored the vast wilderness filled with strange creatures and unknown terrains. Lyra pointed towards a lush illustration of their characters amidst an alien forest. During their journey, they faced various challenges. Ethan continued, energized by Lyra's synergy. From navigating treacherous cliffs to deciphering languages, they learned to rely on each other's strengths. With every challenge, they found common ground, Lyra added, her gaze dancing with liveliness. Their experiences taught them that although they appeared different, their hearts beat to the same rhythm. Ethan paused, allowing the council to absorb the depth of their tale. Eventually, they discovered that the key to bridging their worlds lay in collaboration and understanding. They returned to their respective homes, forever changed. Thus, they not only mended their communities but forged a bond that would last through generations, Lyra concluded, a radiant smile forming on her lips. As they finished, the silence in the room felt heavy with contemplation. Aelith broke it first, leaning forward with a thoughtful expression. That is a moving tale, a demonstration of unity through contrasts. How do you envision sharing this tale among our people? Ethan seized the opportunity. We hope to encourage both species to engage in cross-cultural exchanges, share stories, and create collaborative arts. This legend could be a starting point, igniting conversations that lead to deeper understanding. I see value in that, Aelith said warmly. But there are risks. How do you respond to those concerned about blending cultures too rapidly? Lyra stepped forward, her conviction sharp. By showing that differences enrich rather than diminish, we can honor our traditions while embracing new ideas. It starts with openness and willingness to listen. Brix, a council member known for his skepticism, interjected. But what guarantees this meld is positive? What if it leads to misunderstandings? Ethan had anticipated such questions. Every beginning has challenges, but those challenges pave the way for knowledge. With understanding, we can create a tapestry woven from both our histories. The council exchanged glances, weighing Ethan's words. Aelith nodded. It appears you both have given this a great deal of thought. Would you be willing to further explore these ideas in the council's events? Yes, Lyra exclaimed, her excitement contagious. We would love to collaborate on festivals, art exchanges, and storytelling nights between our cultures. It could deepen our shared experiences. What a thoughtful initiative, Aelith approved, a smile breaking through his stately demeanor. We open the floor to planning your ideas and seeing how they manifest in practice. Ethan felt a rush of adrenaline. Thank you. This means a lot to us. As discussions progressed, the atmosphere shifted. More members chimed in, excited about potential collaboration. Discussions of sharing food, like pizza night, where they could combine earth toppings with Xyler flavors, bubbled up, sparking laughter and imaginative ideas. Later, when the meeting concluded, Ethan stepped aside with Lyra, adrenaline still pulsing through him. That went better than I imagined. Yes. I felt the energy shift, she replied, grinning. We did it together. I couldn't have done it without you, Ethan said, feeling a deep appreciation for her support. Lyra looked at him, her expression turning serious. Today marked a new beginning for us. I'm grateful for the way we've connected. Me too, he said, holding her gaze. This is just the start. I can see a real future for both our cultures now. Together, she echoed, stepping closer. Their hands brushed, a spark igniting in the air around them. The uncertainties that once shadowed their bond began to fade. Hey, Ethan said softly, feeling the weight of the moment. I know there will be challenges ahead, but I want to figure them out with you. Together, she reaffirmed, her eyes shimmering. As they exchanged smiles, an unspoken promise hung in the air. Today marked a turning point, not just in their presentation but in their connection. Each story they shared was a building block for a greater understanding, leading them toward a shared horizon, a place where their cultures could thrive together. As they left the council chamber, arms brushing against each other, they ventured into the brighter future ahead, ready to face whatever may come, united in purpose and affection.